On behalf of the Sustainability Reporting Standards Board of ICAI, Jyoti Singh extends a warm welcome to all of you to the 46th session of our webinar series, Nature Bond for Sustainable Conservation of Biodiversity, Unlocking Capital for Nature Positive Outcomes. Today's session is centered around a critical theme, demystifying sustainability, catalyzing growth. We are honored to have with us our esteemed speaker, Professor Dr. Seema Mishra ji, and our moderator for today, CA Ankita Shah ji and CA Hina Bora ji. Let us now begin. I would like to invite CA Ankita Shah to take the session forward.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ma'am. Hina, would you like to introduce Dr. Seema, ma'am, please?
Yes. Thank you, Ankita. So, good evening, everyone. First of all, on behalf of Sustainability Reporting Standards Board of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, a very warm welcome to all the participants joining us today. It is now my privilege to introduce our distinguished speaker for today's session, Professor Seema Mishra. She has more than 25 years of experience in diverse areas of sustainable environmental science and management. Currently, she is working as a professor in School of Engineering and Sciences and chairperson of Center for Academic Research and Education, CARE, at JD Goenka University. Her professional career started in the year 2000 from IIT Delhi. After that, she served at SIES Institute of Environment Management and Tribhuvan College of Environment Development Sciences, Nalanda University Center. We are privileged to have you, ma'am, today, and I would like to pass on to you so that you can take this session forward. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable time.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Hina, for introducing me. And thank you, Ashish sir, for linking me with SRSB. And it is my privilege to present my lecture today. And I'm thankful to you all to cover a very important topic in current scenario, that is on nature bonds uh, for sustainable conservation of biodiversity, unlocking capital for nature positive outcomes. So when we talk about nature bonds basically is a very latest development, and it is very important in current scenario because it is based on innovative debt-based financial instrument, and it is designed to fund biodiversity conservation and climate action by restructuring a country's sovereign debt. So developing countries can take benefit by using these nature bonds, and they can also use that money in the conservation of biodiversity as well as their resources. These bonds actually ensure long-term funding for nature restoration as well as for aligning the economic development, for as well as the growth of the country can be streamlined by using these nature bonds. And one important thing is that these nature bonds differ from uh, green bonds because nature bonds focus more on biodiversity. So whatever financial outcomes are there, it is specifically measured from the biodiversity target. That is the main benefit of these nature bonds. So before knowing the fundamental aspect of nature bonds from policy framework side, it's very important to know about the nature. When we talk about nature, nature is not a simple word, it's a very complex. It involves all the principles of physics, chemistry, biology, biochemistry, and sustainability is the biggest part of it. If the system is not running sustainably, then it will not be useful in a long term. So nature, basically, it is a foundation for existence that involves abiotic factors like light, temperature, soil, wind, as well as biotic factors like biodiversity, that may be a single unicellular microorganism to multicellular plants or animals. And they result into the formation of ecosystems in this biosphere. Ecosystems have structure as well as function, and due to that, they provide different ecosystem services for our survival. And these ecosystem services are very important part of our economy, and such as water, food, raw material, medicine. They regulate our climate, they regulate our hydrological cycle, nutritional cycle, soil formation, pollination, everything depends on these ecosystem services. These ecosystem services are the true economic value that may be having use value or non-use value. Use value may be having direct use or indirect use uh, through provisioning services like whatever food we eat, water that we take from our resources, or whatever uh, uh, ingredients we get from forest for making our medicines, all comes from these biodiversity, and it comes under the provisioning services. When we talk about regulating services, so our climate change regulation, hydrological cycle regulation, everything is managed by our ecosystem services. Then our recreation, tourism, all comes under cultural services, and supporting services are those services that support in the regulation or maintenance of quality of a system, like soil quality. It is supporting type of ecosystem services. Then non-use value is bequest values, like value that we can use for future generations, or existence values. So resources due to that we exist comes under existence values. So all these values are already there from Mother Nature, but in current scenario, they are actually degraded, and it is causing lot of pressure on the humanities. So as per I think there is some, just a minute. So as per Intergovernmental Panel on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, that is a part of United Nations, about 3/4 of the land-based environment and about 2/3 of the marine environment is significantly altered by human beings. In last 50 years, there is a decline of 73% in the average size of the monitored wildlife. Around 1 million animal and plant species are threatened, with more than even before in human history. And 14 out of 18 ecosystem services are actually, they are badly affected or on the verge of the extinction. So there are different causes due to that biodiversity or our nature is getting badly affected. But out of all these reasons, first is pollution. So whatever our physical nature is there, it is getting affected due to the pollution, due to anthropogenic reasons, and industrialization, urbanization, all are causing impact on nature. Then climate change is also biggest threat among us. When we talk about climate change, it's a buzzword. Everybody talks about climate change, but when we talk from the policy perspective, it's very important to know what are the precursors for climate change. It may be rise in the carbon dioxide, But how and why carbon dioxide is rising? That is the main thing. And it is mainly due to the industrialization and urbanization. But what is your take? Can we stop the urbanization or industrialization? No, because we have to grow and we have to become developed country. So how can we stop economic development? So it's very important. So if we see the rise in carbon dioxide uh, from 1750s to now, we can say that it is rising, temperature is rising. And why it is rising? It's not only carbon dioxide. Other gases, mainly six gases are identified by United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So carbon dioxide is mainly emitted from coal or crude oil sector, fossil fuel combustion, or from transportation sector. Methane is emitted from agriculture, natural gas systems or landfills. Nitrous oxide mainly from agriculture sector. Then hydrofluorocarbons from semiconductor manufacturing, perfluorocarbons from aluminium productions, sulfur hexafluoride from magnesium production. So all these gases in a big amount or large amount, it is adding a burden on our atmosphere, and all are calculated in the form of carbon dioxide only. So carbon dioxide concentration is rising, and due to that, the main reason actually is anthropogenic factors. In our country, if we see, maximum GHG emission is from electricity and heat generation, followed by agriculture, then industries, transportation, and other areas. So basically, climate change and biodiversity, it is a kind of vicious circle. If there is a temperature rise of up to 1.5 degrees centigrade, about 4% of the mammal will lose half of their habitat. If temperature is about plus 2 degrees centigrade, then 8% of mammal will lose their half of their habitat. And if it is more than 3 degrees centigrade, then it will be more than 41% of the mammal will lose their habitat. So now, in the policy frameworks, you all might be knowing about the COPs, Conference of Parties, that is for climate change under UNFCCC, and for biodiversity, it is under Convention on Biodiversity. In all these COPs, main discussion is for the range of temperature that we need to control. So currently, actually, earlier it was up to 2 degrees centigrade that we need to control, but now it is 1.5 degrees centigrade. At this level, we have to manage or maintain our temperature rise. Otherwise, situation is going to be very difficult for the future. The marine ecosystem is very productive, and it is a biggest supplier of different type of resources. You all might be knowing about the coral reefs. Now coral in current scenario, they are actually getting bleached, and due to that their colors are actually disappearing. If temperature will rise above 1.5 degrees centigrade, then 70 to 90% of coral reefs will vanish. And if this temperature rise will be above 2 degree, then 99% of coral reefs will disappear. So it's very important to manage to maintain all this biodiversity, because they only result into providing crude oil or other type of resources to us. So it's very important to maintain them. As per a latest report of Reserve Bank of India, the cost of climate change will affect our GDP also. If temperature rise stays below 2 degrees centigrade, then by 2030, there will be a decline in GDP by minus 1.91%. By 2050, it will be minus 3.8%. If we are going as per the current national goals, then scenario is going to be very difficult. And if we are going by the globally agreed goals, then conditions will be further very difficult. So climate and biodiversity crises are increasingly getting affected because both of them are part of that vicious cycle. And it is not only mutually reinforcing, but one crisis is resulting into two acute emergencies. So this situation was already understood by the policy planners at the global level. And from 1992 onwards, different discussions were taking place in this direction. In 1992, during Earth Summit, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change was established. And this convention focused on the reduction in the issues related to climate change, as well as to address the challenges that humanity is facing. So it's COP3 held in 1997, that is known as the Kyoto Protocol. In Article 2 of Kyoto Protocol, land use, land change, and forestry was the main focal area. Protection of forest was also promoted in this COP. COP 11, that was in 2005 in Montreal, focus was on REDD, that is reducing emission from deforestation and forest degradation. For that, different type of mechanisms have been suggested by IUCN, and that further extended to REDD plus in COP13 in 2007, that was in Bali. And in that, it's not only the reduction of emission from deforestation or forest degradation, but conservation of biodiversity and sustainable management of forest was also integrated. You will ask me, why only sustainable management of forests? Why not all biodiversity? Actually, forest is a major ecosystem where other biodiversity also dwells. So major focus was on forest. In COP21, that was the game changer in the among all the COPs of UNFCCC, that is also known as Paris Agreement. In Article 5 of Paris Agreement, REDD plus was reaffirmed. All countries of the world or all parties have been asked to submit their nationally determined contributions towards climate change management, mitigation, and adaptation. At this stage, I would like to tell you, in climate change management, there are two terms, adaptation and mitigation. And both terms are very important because whatever atmospheric conditions are going to change, or that will affect all our resources, and directly it will affect our society. So to manage our society, it's very important that proper planning should be done, and it can only be done when we know what is our adaptive capacity. So adaptation is very important, and mitigation means reduction in the GHG emission is also very important, and they should go hand in hand. We cannot discuss them separately. So in that way, Paris Agreement was very significant to discuss about adaptation and mitigation at a common platform. So all countries of the world have been asked to give their views, their commitment or goals for climate change management. Under that, National Action Plan on Climate Change was actually given by all the parties. Then in from COP26 to COP30, under Article 6 of Paris Agreement, lot of emphasis was given on nature-based solution. So what are the nature-based solutions? So like if you are going to your industry is using water from a natural resource like a river, and you are using it, and after some time that water body may get polluted, or due to drought there will not be any water. So what strategy you want to take? You will go for rainwater harvesting. You will go for recharging of other water resources so that water will be available round the year. Or you will go for the treatment of wastewater and its reutilization. So all these are the nature-based solutions. So mechanism for nature-based solution is given by uh, IUCN, and its mechanism is further strengthened in different COPs. Apart from that, in latest COP 30, nature, climate, and people, that was the main theme that it should be. We cannot play with nature, or we should not deny climate change because people are directly affected due to it. So nature was main in the climate change policy, and biodiversity is the main part of nature. In United Nations Convention on Biodiversity, that is known as the UNCBD, that also held in 1992 under Earth Summit, different COPs held regularly, and first focus was on ecosystem-based approach for in adaptation and mitigation. Whatever activities any industry is planning or any corporate is planning, there should be ecosystem-based approach. In 2010, under COP10 at Nagoya, Japan, IG biodiversity targets were released. IG biodiversity targets were from 2010 to 2020 for 10 years, and that decade was also the decade for natural conservation. So in IG biodiversity targets, 5 goals and 20 targets were there for mainstreaming biodiversity for national development. So under that national action plan or national biodiversity action plan was also given in different parts of the world, and in our country also MOFCC has given. These action plans were integrated with the IG biodiversity target as well as with climate policy also. And very important factor in this is MOFCC has started with two main areas. First is City Biodiversity Index. Many cities in our country like Pune, Hyderabad, they have come out with their biodiversity plan, and they have actually taken whole stock of whatever biodiversity, even water bodies, natural sources are present, and how that city is going to be sustainable. Apart from that, second area that was highlighted was IBIB, in India Biodiversity uh, Initiative. That was also promoted, and under that actually many industries have done excellent work like JSW, that Mahindra and Mahindra, they have done excellent work in this area, and they have supported in biodiversity conservation. Tatas have supported olive Ridley turtle management, or Mahindra and Mahindra have supported in recharging river in Igatpuri where their plant is located, or that different other industries have also done excellent work in this area. World Bank has also given funds to different countries under their BioFin program, and Finance for Biodiversity Pledge was also a very important part of the United Nations to support in biodiversity conservation and to involve all the parties to promote it. Apart from that, in COP15 that took place in 2022, actually Aichi biodiversity target was only up to 2020. But as you know that due to COVID, 3-4 years were actually no work was done. So significant outcome have not been received. So in 2022, coming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework was released up to 2030 deadline. And its main theme was 30 by 30, means conserve 30% ecosystems by 2030. So under this GBF, there are 4 goals for 2050 and 23 targets for 2030. And all parties or countries have been asked to raise their funds for biodiversity conservation. At the level of the world, at the GBF level, the target is for 200 billion US dollar per year for public and private sources for biodiversity conservation. All the countries have been asked to invest in nature-based solution through green and blue bonds. Apart from that, nature bond, that is debt-free financial mechanism, was also being promoted under this GBF. So GBF mainly they aim to raise 200 study in 2025. They have found there is a gap. The gap is of about 700 billion US dollar per year. It is due to nature negative flow. So it's very important for all of you to understand what is nature negative flow. As you know that we get many resources by mining or by reduction by negative use of our biodiversity and other resources. So that is known as a nature negative flow. Nearly 7 trillion is invested annually in activities that have a negative impact on nature, including subsidies. For fossil fuel, there is a subsidy. So all these subsidies are actually causing lot of pressure on the governments, as well as it is affecting this gap, conservation gap. So currently governments provide only 82% of the 200 billion for nature-based solutions, and industry or private finance, actually it is not very significant. India is also scaling to meet 37% of 2030 climate mitigation target, supported by government initiatives like Nishti, that is for mangrove restoration, and Amrit Dharohar, that is also a kind of mechanisms that include carbon credits, and emerging green finance for sustainable agriculture. But as you know that carbon credit market is also collapsed and its future is also unpredictable now. If we say the conservation gap in India, so reduction in natural capital such as forest, ecosystem, they results into the loss of at least 5.7% of India's GDP. India need over 12 billion annually to implement in the National Biodiversity Action Plan. That is a very important part for biodiversity conservation in our country. Different government schemes are there, about 116 schemes are there across 24 ministries to support it. And union budget of 25-26 also projected or enhanced the India's focus on biodiversity by increasing MOEFCC allocation by 9% to rupees 3,412.82 crore. And biodiversity conservation funds have also raised to 10 crore. So all these are going to support, but it's very important that it should be planned and implemented effectively. So more than half of the world's GDP worth of around 44 trillion to 58 trillion US dollar is moderately or highly dependent on nature. If we are going to be inactive at this stage, biodiversity loss is already costing the global economy more than 5 trillion a year, and it will further increase the gap, and humanity is going to suffer. So insurance protection gap, like ecosystems like mangrove and forest, provide billions in flood protection. Failing to protect them increases the insurance protection gap also. So basically, structural shift is required to shift global economy from nature negative to nature positive. In United Nations Convention framework on climate change, since last 3-4 COPs, lot of discussion is going on to become nature positive. And lot of pressure was there on oil sector, oil and gas sector. So to become nature positive, it's not easy. We cannot do it immediately. Long-term planning and management is required. So our focus should be on nature positive, but it should be in a sustainable manner. So how to close this gap? It's very important to use repurpose harmful subsidies like global biodiversity funds aim to reduce or reform 500 billion US dollar in annual harmful subsidies by 2030. Then innovative finance that basically involves nature bond or green bond, nature related disclosures in sustainability reporting. TNFD will get more focus now in comparison to other disclosures. Indigenous leadership, indigenous population, they are actually directly suffered if there is any problem to biodiversity because they depend directly on biodiversity. So it's very important that indigenous leadership should also be promoted so that local communities should maintain their all the resources in a sustainable manner. So nature bonds, basically, these were actually promoted quite recently. And these bonds actually depend on the debt conversion. Like if any developing country, they have lot of debt taken from World Bank or from Asian Development Bank. And they want, and if they are taking a pledge, okay, please reduce our debt, we will use that money in biodiversity conservation. So in this mechanism, debt conversion for conservation, that is the main thing. And the Nature Conservancy Agency, actually it is a main agency that is promoting this idea. So Nature Bonds project aims to refinance a country's commercial uh, debt to generate new funding for conservation and for climate. So nature bonds represent the intrinsic and economic connections between humanity and the environment, serving as a framework for sustainable biodiversity conservation. So how these nature bonds drive measurable results? So first is debt for nature swaps. So nature swap, how it can be done? So debtor nation like developing country plus creditor nation like developed country plus environment organization like WWF or TNC, they can work together and they can support in the creditor government cancels or reduces the debt owed by the debtor government. So in that way, developing countries can take benefit. So In this, basically, the partners, it will provide a kind of triple win by improving depth, sustainability, and facilitating biodiversity conservation. And at the same time, it will also address the climate change issues. One example, because their nature bonds were recently implemented in 2020 to 2023. And first example is coming from Ecuador. Ecuador completed a record-breaking 1.6 billion US dollar debt for nature swap in 2024 to protect the Galapagos Islands. So Galapagos were recently, they were in news, and it is that news. Then nature bonds, like performance-based structures or performance-based bonds, they can also be implemented. So nature-based solutions, like I have given you example for river regeneration, or it may be for biodiversity conservation, or it may be if industry when making any product that is directly from biodiversity, and that biodiversity is vulnerable. And if they are innovating some new idea and going for new substrate, that will also comes under nature-based solution. So nature-based solution can be implemented in such a way that strategic dimensions can be taken in ecosystem-based approach. Its planning should be in such a way so that green infrastructure and urban forestry, all these areas should be properly managed. Then natural water and ecological engineering, low impact design. So mainly the principles of sustainability or circular economy should be implemented so that we can have less negative impacts on the environment. And whatever activities are being done, it should be monitored properly, and performance dimensions should be properly studied. The third area is sustainability linked bonds. So nature bonds directly focus on biodiversity. When we talk about sustainability linked bonds, so means in that economy, social aspect, everything should be covered. So green bonds that also having positive impact on society, it will come under the sustainability linked bonds. Like if we are doing any project for corporates or for industry, wherein we are going for reforestation in their community fields. And we are planting native trees that provide resources that are having market values. In that way, and we can also train local people in making products out of that biodiversity. We can develop their market linkages, and they will get economic benefits. So that type of bonds come under sustainability linked bonds. This type of project can be implemented under sustainability linked bonds. So in this nature bonds, risk mitigation, as you know that in all the disclosures framework of climate change, also risk mitigation is a very important part, because whatever planning we do, we should do risk management. So business as usual scenario we need to follow, because whatever development is going to take place, we should develop as per that pace, and we should plan our activity as per that pace. Guarantees and credit enhancement by multilateral development banks, lowering interest rates and making the bonds more attractive to investors, which increases the capital available for conservation. So we can also mitigate the risk in such a way so that there will be less harm on the society, as well as biodiversity is also conserved at the same time. So who will lower the interest rate? It is mainly by the funding agencies or the banks, multilateral banks. So this approach is very important to make this nature bond solution an attractive solution for not only for the conservation of biodiversity, but for mainstreaming climate change in the development, as well as the economic development of any country. So provision of green bonds, if we see in India, India has implemented these bonds as a sovereign green bonds. They are debt instruments to fund public sector projects in renewable energy, clean transportation, biodiversity. So basically, these green bonds are like a sustainability bond. They are integrating nature bonds also. Their focus is not only on biodiversity, but other areas also that are very important for maintaining sustainability. Sovereign green bonds were released in January 2023 for 5 years or for 10 years. Then corporate green bonds, municipal green bonds, financial institution-led bonds for green projects, asset bonds, hybrid bonds, all these different type of bonds have been promoted in our country. So areas that are covered under nature bonds are climate change mitigation. So climate change mitigation type of projects can be those projects wherein we are focusing directly on reducing the emission, or we are substituting the fuel to renewable so that emission will be less. So that comes under climate change mitigation. When we talk about climate change adaptation, it means that we are supporting our community by giving them avenues for their livelihood generation, and also supporting their surrounding green so that they will not be affected due to the challenges of climate change. Then natural resource conservation. So under that also water management or any resource management that comes. It may be any specific area like in our country we have different projects like Project Tiger or Project Crocodile. So through that also we can contribute. Then biodiversity conservation. So biodiversity conservation also, and it's not only the conservation of forests, like there are different other areas like plantation along the national highways, or like green wall project, or grassland conservation. All this comes under biodiversity conservation. Then pollution prevention and control. So for that also sector specific technologies can be implemented. Like in transport sector, we have BS6 level of vehicles or engines. So that should be implemented in such a way so that pollution can be controlled, or we can go for the fossil fuel use in such a way. We can, like we are already doing, we are using ethanol. So how it is affecting or how it is supporting, that can be studied. And now we have hybrid vehicles also, EV vehicles also. So all these changes, developments are taking place, but it's proper systematic implementation, monitoring is very important. So these bonds cover all these areas. Then nature related, if we see the areas, KPIs that are for monitoring, here I'm giving you a few examples, like restoration and conservation of biodiversity, uh, and ecosystem, biodiversity and ecosystem services. So industries or corporates can select any area, like when uh, I have worked with Ashish sir when sir was in BPCL, and we have conducted a project for whole Maharashtra. Actually, we were going to do for whole India, but due to COVID, we have actually selected only Maharashtra. And in that, we have done seed bombing of native tree species. So we have selected different type of areas around the BPCL depot as well as in forest area, along the national highways, along the hills, so that we can restore and rehabilitate that area. So we have studied its growth as well as that survival of plants for 2 years, and also we have studied its carbon sequestration capacity. So these type of projects can be implemented, and so that we can go for species richness and relative abundance of priority biodiversity species as per the specific areas. Then agricultural land can also be involved in that, and along the agricultural land we can give training programs to farmers to go for making a natural boundary, that is green boundary, so they can plant different leguminous trees so that there will be more fertility in the soil, as well as soil moisture will remain there for the long time, so they will not depend only on rainfall for their agricultural production. Second example is integration of nature-based solution across different economic sector. So percentage of water treatment facilities. So all these KPIs are already there in industries, but yes, it can be implemented in such a way so that industry should focus streamline activity, or they think from the perspective of biodiversity or nature-based solution, so that biodiversity conservation also takes place hand in hand along with climate change adaptation and mitigation. So these type of actually thinking is required to address the challenges as well as the problems related to it. In sustainability reporting, nature bonds are actually not directly connected, but yes, it is being implemented. And we can see that sectoral maturity metrics are there. Uh, Intergovernmental panel on biodiversity and ecosystem services, that is a part of UN. They are actually making sectoral maturity on the biodiversity, and many disclosures are already having, but their focus is not from the perspective of nature bond. So they are actually reviving, like SESB. SESB is now reviving as per the nature bond, and very soon they will be having that disclosures as per the TNFD. So reporting on relevant impact indicator to basically to demonstrate uh, measurable contribution to nature, environment or social co-benefits, they are also very important. So impact indicators. So impact indicators, as I have told you, uh, they are that IPBBS is working on that. Then biodiversity studies are not short-term studies, they are long-term studies. So long-term tracking of biodiversity indicators is very important rather than just capital allocation. Issuers are increasingly aligning with International Capital Market Association. So now capital markets are also focusing on this, and guidance for nature themed bonds and the task force for nature related financial disclosures, that is actually working on it for quite long time, and now they will be the main. International Sustainability Standard Board is now upgrading SESB standards for nature related content also. Although they have, but it should be integrated with the nature bond or debt-free financial mechanisms. So all countries are having their own policy frameworks as per the international requirement. So as per that, it's very important that sustainability performance targets can be linked. Even nature bond targets can be linked, like National Biodiversity Strategies and Action Plan. So they have given 14 different main areas, action plans. As per that, industries can select a few and they can showcase their activity in such a way so that they can project their activities that is fruitful for any agency. Then global biodiversity framework. So that Montreal global biodiversity framework. It is focusing on 30 on 30. So for ecosystem restoration, also industries can work and they can support in these initiatives. Then sustainable development goals, these are universal. It can be implemented in all the domains, all the areas. Even in our academic institution, we are following all the sustainable development goals, and our ranking is based on the SDGs. So uh, these targets actually can be aligned with the SDGs, and industries can cover maximum SDGs for showcasing their activities, and biodiversity conservation, if they are implementing, it will cover maximum SDGs. Then regulatory standard or frameworks are also there. So regulatory standards and frameworks, it may be like in our country, we have from SIDBI or we have from SEBI, BRSR. So all these standards and frameworks, they can follow nature bonds or integrate this debt-free mechanism also in their system. Then industry-led or sectoral target setting methodologies. So under GRI guidelines, these are standards as well as in other like SESB, industry or sectoral target methodologies are there for different areas. For biodiversity also, it can be integrated. Then science-based targets, and science-based targets are very important in setting the guidance for integrating biodiversity conservation with the activities of the industry. So it can be implemented. So I would like to give you a case study of the Rhino Bond. And this Rhino Bond project was of World Bank. And it aimed to increase black rhino population in two South African locations, Addo Elephant National Park and Great Fish River Nature Reserve. So it provided a 5-year tenure, promising to return principal amount plus potential success payment by the Green Environment Fund. So early results are highly promising, and it has shown that 7.65% growth rate as of late 2023 it was observed, and significantly exceeding the target of 4%. So and this project actually focus was on the conservation of gene pool and increase in the density of rhino in the selected areas. So issuer in this project were the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD, under World Bank, funders, institutional investors, implementation partner were Global Environment Facility, GEF. So this impact bond actually worked in such a way that goal was set to determine population growth targets at the project site. They were having investors. Investors means World Bank, and they have committed money to finance conservation work. And outcome payers pledge money to pay back investors with interest if target are met. So no risk is involved. So 5-year project was there, and in that evaluation was done on the growth targets, if it is meeting or not. So if it is meeting, then whatever income is there, it will be paid back to the investor, and investor will further put that in this Rhino impact bond work. If target is not meeting, then investors take the losses. So this type of debt projects are actually comes under nature bond. In our country, mainly green bonds are there, and a few examples are green bonds for biodiversity conservation are primarily integrated within sustainable water management, afforestation, and ecosystem restoration projects. Namami Gange mission is there. So Namami Gange mission, actually, they are also showcasing as a green bond. So they are also focusing on biodiversity along with the river quality, river cleaning. Then municipal green bonds from cities like Ghaziabad and Indore, they are focusing on sustainable water and waste management. So these are the green bonds. But when we focus totally on biodiversity, it comes under the nature bond. So the future of biodiversity finance actually is rapidly evolving to bridge about 800 billion annual funding gap. So it's very important that private sector should engage, or they should handhold government for the biodiversity conservation. So these type of debt-based mechanisms are going to help in this regard. And nature positive economic transformation and standardized risk disclosures. And these are very important in solving these challenges or issues. So in this, actually, urgent funding need is required. So funding, it can be in a participatory manner, means funding multilateral banks, government, as well as industry. They should properly, they should make this happen. Then private sector mobilization can also be done, especially from those category red industries who are causing maximum pollution. They can support in these initiatives. Then transitioning from ESG to direct biodiversity investment. So talk is on this also. So now ESG should move towards biodiversity investment, moving past voluntary commitments to mandatory. It should not be voluntary, it should be mandatory. Then nature positive business models, they are also being promoted. And biodiversity credits and market. So credits like climate, carbon credit, biodiversity credit can also be promoted, although carbon credit are not very successful and that market is collapsing. And risk and reporting. So for that, TNFD is an example that is now implemented, or now it is actually used by different industries in different reporting frameworks that is taking lead. So this is all for my today's presentation. So if you have any point for discussion, please let me know.
Thank you, ma'am, for the session. Yeah, we're just waiting for the participants to share their views and if they have any questions. Ma'am, some of the common questions that are coming up are, more towards the role of auditors in this area. So if you can, like how a CA can lead in mainstream biodiversity linked financial instruments within the corporate and public sector finance.
Yeah, actually, when we talk about nature bonds, the CA should be having very good knowledge on nature, means biodiversity, as well as other factors, climate change also, because uh, these there are different biodiversity is very diverse, so
Yeah.
proper knowledge should be known to that auditor. Apart from that, as I have told you, TNS, that the Nature Conservancy, they are
Mm-hmm.
actually coming up with lot of indicators and targets. So that is also going to help. Sectoral targets, sectoral indicators. So that is
Okay.
also going to help, because from sector wise, a lot of changes are there. Uh, different type of targets are required in different type of sectors, different type of domain. So all these knowledge are required to auditor to understand from a specific terrestrial area or from marine area what type of resources are there, so what type of indicators will be implemented in that area. For carbon, what type of that indicators will be there, and for other areas what type of indicators will be there. So it's very important.
Yeah. Alright. Um, there's something more on the KPIs part. I know you have, taken us through the KPIs, but more specifically, how do you identify and what can be linked to the nature bond interest or principal redemption? If you can help us understand a little more on that front.
KPIs, I would like to also highlight one area. I was talking about ecosystem services. Uh,
Right.
I would like to give you an example, uh, like one forest is there. From that, glaciers are melting and water is coming. That is recharging a river.
Mhm.
So, how you value that forest for that service? It's very
Okay.
important.
Yeah.
So for that, actually, natural capital assessment, that area was actually very less covered in our country, and at the level of world also, it is very less covered. So 2020 was the deadline in our country to cover natural capital assessment of all the resources. So work is still going on. Okay. So if you
Okay.
have to decide the KPI, like if you are working, your project is having forest area. So forest is very diverse. It may be having different type of benefits. It may be some product, or it may be kind of regulatory services wherein it is supporting air pollution management, or it may be supporting water recharging.
Mhm.
So how to identify what is the total cost of that service? Okay.
Right.
So for that,
Right.
there should be a clarity on what type of ecosystem services we are getting from that area and what will be the cost. For that, there is a mechanism as per
Okay.
auditor can define. So
Okay.
ecosystem wise, resource wise, there are KPIs. There are different indicators and mechanisms. So natural capital assessment is there, and all auditors should have a sound knowledge on this.
Okay.
Madam,
Uh,
I'll ask a question here. Who
Yes.
is the regulator for this biodiversity bond? Like in case of your green bond, it's a Ministry of Forest.
Yes,
Or are they same? I mean, both are
they're same. They are
regulatory
same.
same for both?
Yeah, they are same. Actually, in our country, nature bond directly is not, it is a green bond. So green bond is a hybrid bond
Hybrid bond.
where biodiversity and sustainability both are integrated.
So the regulator will be Ministry of Forest only.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And can you give some examples in India, no, where, I mean, somebody has gone for these kind of biodiversity bonds?
Sir, biodiversity bond actually it is very new in our country. But yeah, green bond I have given a few example of Municipal Corporation of Ghaziabad,
Yeah.
Municipal Corporation of Indore. They have gone for waste management. Green bond they have taken out for waste management, for water management. And at industry level, very few information is there. Only all are actually government-led projects, like Nawami Gange project. Under that also green bond is implemented.
No, is it, had they applied and they got the money out of that or what?
Yeah, yeah.
They have been given by the invested certain amount of
Yes,
money to, huh?
yes.
Acha,
Corporates
so
are
that,
supporting. So
uh,
2023 onwards, these green bond uh, projects have been started in our country.
like BRSR is also asking for green bonds,
Yes, sir. Now
right?
all
So
all
do you
regulatory.
find in any of the BRSR reports somebody has given any example
No,
of?
sir, actually it is quite nascent stage. It is in quite nascent.
ठीक है. Okay.
Also, ma'am, wanted to understand how should companies account for penalties or step-up coupons or even incentives arising from the non-achievement of the, ecological targets, because that is something very crucial for this ecosystem. So how would you like recommend that, what should be done to account for these penalties or in?
Actually, it is in the form of that sustainability reporting when we go assurance and all this. Then on that basis also the level of industry comes. Then we have DJON sustainability index. For that also industries have to fight. So if they are not
Okay.
maintaining or following the that biodiversity conservation or this different other services related to environment, then
Mhm.
penalty will come in that way. That the different pollution control um, departments are there, or Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change are there through Department of Forest. So they all will have their penalties. So industries have to work actually. Whatever they are committing, they need to work. Otherwise, their sustainability reporting, their other in their valuation, it will be affected.
Hmm. Okay.
Madam, you gave an example of Bharat Petroleum. You know,
Yes,
we're putting that seed bombing and all that.
yes,
Hmm.
sir.
So do you think that Bharat Petroleum can show it as a project and ask for the green bonds?
Yes, sir. Actually, but it should be long run. It should not be of 2 years. It should be of 10 years, 15 years.
No,
Because, sir,
whatever is
that,
happening, it is going on. Na? It is not stopped. Nobody has
yeah, yeah,
cut the tree and you can always show that so many trees are available.
yes.
Do you think
So,
is it a correct project to show it as a and apply for a
yes,
green
yes.
bond for that?
Well, I suggest that in wasteland or in any area where biodiversity is affected, plantation of grass and leguminous trees, it should be promoted. And at the cycle of 5 years and 10 years, then it should be monitored. Then it will give a proper, because green cover also add lot of carbon in the soil. It provides a type of system that supports tree growth also. So under wasteland condition where nutrients are not proper in soil, if any industry is regenerating it, making it suitable, and changing the whole climatic condition in that area, then definitely that project will be a part of this type of initiatives. But it should be in long run, 5 years or 10 years.
What do you suggest? We can suggest to Bharat Petroleum to take it as a project, get it registered. No, check the, do it monitoring for 5 years and then give the data and ask for the bonds.
Yeah, it can be done. Yeah, it can be done. But how much survival is there? it should be in large area.
No, that monitoring would be done, no? That could be
Yeah.
done.
And
Okay.
sir, it should be in large area. Means when we were doing actually, I have talked to certification agencies.
Mm.
So their main concern was that how much area you are covering.
Mhm.
So area we have to increase, and as time increase, then that will project will be certainly under green bond.
Okay.
Ma'am, wanted to know your thoughts on the importance of third-party verification in preventing greenwashing.
Yeah, third party verification is very important, especially when we go for certification, or
Hmm.
where this type of mechanism is involved, where debt is also there. And so
Yeah.
definitely third party is going to support in that. And as you know that there are different regulatory mechanism as well as different type of certifications. Gold bond is there, then that different forest and agriculture, for that there are different bonds are there under different agencies. So they are having common type of criterias and system. So third party evaluation will definitely help in this regard.
Okay. Um,
Now, are you talking about VVBs to be taken, that
Yeah,
certification
VRP.
bodies? Those who are going
VRP.
to do the, huh?
Hmm.
Those who are going to carry out the certification and then apply for it in either of the voluntary framework.
Yes,
Okay. For that, you need a large number of.
large.
Okay.
Uh, in nature bond, actually, time period should be long, 5 years or 10 years.
Mm.
Then proper benefits can be accrued.
so, ma'am, something on the nature bond only we were wanting to know from you. Uh, some key valuation challenges with nature bonds
Yeah.
because
I would
they are
like to
linked
give
to.
you example from this Rhino project only. I was going through their report, and what I have observed, it was not only the Rhino. So they
Mm.
have actually done this project in an area of around 10,000 square meter. And what they have observed that because when they go for a simple single biodiversity, single species, it's not only the species, but what that species is eating, what type of tree it requires to sustain or as a shelter. So all those species should be in that area. Okay. So while working on that, they have observed that uh, other species that were required, they have also improved. And through that also, they were getting income by selling the products in the market, or training programs or other activities they have started. So single species conservation supported in multiple activities. So it is very important. And very important aspect is that uh, like single species we are taking, there may be some challenges also, because initially it is not clear that this project is going to help or not. It is going to bring positive results or not. So it's very important that implementation of activity should be in such a way so that it will bring, if one area that we are focusing, if it is very slow moving, then other area will support in bridging the gap. So in that way, planning can be done. And what I suggest you that biodiversity is a very slow area. Some native species, they grow very slow, and their results you will find after 10 years, 15 years. But yes, uh, uh, we cannot go change the whole dynamics. Like in our country, many exotic species they have actually introduced during 1980s, but now they are causing lot of challenges because now they are invasive and they are affecting the native species. So all this planning should be in hand to minimize the negative impacts and to maximize the output.
Yeah, because like you said, that the impact is known only at a later stage, which is like more than 10 years, maybe, that what negative impact it can happen. So it becomes a very, I think
Subjective
it
matter.
becomes a very tricky proposition to understand that
Value.
how that valuation could swing, maybe, plus or minus.
Yeah,
And
actually it depends on many things, but yes, proper by using proper expertise, we can definitely multi-sectoral approach is required in such type of projects, and yes, then we can achieve it properly.
right. Okay. I think broadly these are the time because there are more questions on the audit side. Like, for example, how can technology strengthen impact reporting? And any thoughts on that, ma'am? Technology in terms of GIS or satellite data or
Actually,
AI?
when we go for carbon credit studies or any project related to green bond, it's very important that data should be integrated with GIS and remote sensing,
Okay.
because biodiversity, big area, if we are studying that in the transition of 5 years, 10 years, it's very important that data is one part. But if we are having any map or data that is giving specific idea about the area, about the green cover, about the size of the plants, so that adds lot of value. Apart from that, now AI and ML, they are big
Mhm.
game changers.
Yeah,
So
true.
artificial intelligence based studies are also helping and in prediction modeling.
Right. Yeah.
So prediction modeling is very important, especially in climate change studies, because it will be in long run, as well as different parameters are involved. So data size
Yes.
is very large. So AI
Yeah.
ML is going to play a very big role in that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think broadly, yeah, these are the questions we have. Anything else? Anything, Hina, from your side you want to ask?
How carbon credits can be linked to nature bonds? Like uh, any impact on the cash flows that turn into the scalable capital for nature bonds
Okay,
that can be done?
carbon credits, like if we are working on any project that is for climate change,
Correct.
uh, like we are working in a forest or we are doing some afforestation project in any area and we are looking for carbon dioxide sequestration. At the same time, in that area, other biodiversity will also come and make that area a very happening place. So, whatever carbon dioxide sequestration is there in tree species, it will be part of that nature bond only.
Okay.
Yeah. So, nature bond, it will be from the specific point of view of biodiversity, carbon credit for the certification of carbon. Whatever carbon sequestration is that done, that will be part of carbon.
Ma'am, in your experience, like sometimes what will happen is people will merely label few things as which are nature linked as nature bonds. Then how do we distinguish between such things?
Actually, nature bond are debt-free financial instruments.
Right.
Okay, so their mechanism is different than carbon credit mechanism. Here we
Yeah.
are focusing on the reducing debt or converting debt to a resource. If any
Right.
developing country is having debt, Any multilateral bank or developed country can support in reducing that debt or converting that debt into biodiversity conservation. Developing country can pledge that yes, we will conserve biodiversity, and in that way, their debt can be waived off. So this is the mechanism of nature bond.
Bonds. Okay.
So it is helping in both way, biodiversity conservation as well as climate change mitigation as well as economic development.
Economy.
However, carbon credit, its main focus, how much carbon is sequestered. As per that, as per the current market practice, carbon credit will be converted to credits and certification can be received. So that is different. Both mechanisms are different.
Yeah.
But we
Okay.
can do integration. Integration can be done. From same project, multiple benefits can be.
Can be driven. Right. Okay, Ankita. So any other questions from
Yeah,
participants?
ma'am, just one or two things more. One question is that with such low interest, why would an investor consider investing in these kind of areas? So
Actually,
love for nature is one, but other than that, is there anything that, an investor would want to consider before investing?
yeah, actually, investors, they also look for benefits like World Bank or other agencies. So they also look for benefits. So developed countries, they are also doing lot of emissions.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
showcasing, we are supporting. So this is a kind of twin mechanism, joint implementation. So that is why.
And it's also a long duration,
Yeah,
or every project is just for a longer duration, and everybody seeks at least, returns in maybe 4 years or
yeah,
5 years. So shorter duration than these kind of projects.
yes.
Yeah. Ma'am, in the rhino related bonds, what was the source of their yield when the growth rate was met?
Actually, rhino mainly depends on the grass. They require grass. So grassland was maintained as well as plantation was also done. So whatever grass was there, excess grass was sold in the market. Trees that supported in carbon management in soil as well as in sequestration. So in that way, they have actually involved multiple mechanisms and get the benefits.
Understood. Okay, I don't think there are any further questions now. Thank you so much.
So it is
So
such a topic that it is quite new. So many data are not there.
not
So
available.
I have completed within 1 hour.
Yeah. But it
Yeah.
was a very well covered. So I would like to formally extend a vote of thanks. Should I proceed?
Yes, please, Hina.
Yeah. So on behalf of Sustainability Reporting Standards Board of ICAI, I extend my sincere gratitude to all the participants for joining today's insightful session on nature bonds for sustainable conservation of biodiversity. Your presence and active engagement played a key role in making this session meaningful and impactful. I would like to place on record our special appreciation to our distinguished speaker, Dr. Seema Mishra, for her thought provoking and enriching presentation. Her deep understanding of biodiversity finance, nature based solutions, and innovative instruments such as nature bonds provided valuable perspectives on integrating conservation goals with sustainable finance. The session effectively highlighted how nature bonds can serve as a powerful tool for mobilizing capital towards biodiversity conservation. We also extend a heartfelt thanks to all the participants for their keen interest, insightful questions, and active participation. Your engagement reflects a strong commitment. Further, we look forward to your continued association, ma'am, and to welcoming you at our future programs and initiatives on sustainability, ESG, and related emerging areas. I also like to extend my thanks to Ankita my fellow participant, and Ashish sir for being there throughout the session. Thank you, everyone. And thank you once again, ma'am, for your valuable time.
Thank you so much. I hope that I have justified whatever you have required.
No, ma'am, it was very insightful.
We'll call you back again, madam. Don't worry.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Hina.
sir. Thank you.